Alright, so we're looking at what we need to do to change our letters to shape words. So our big words we're probably going to do first. And remember, they can be really basic to start out with. And then once you go back, you can make them a little bit crazier. The shapes in general should be something you're relatively comfortable with doing already. Tracing around, making them bigger, figuring out what size you want to be, and then figuring out how they're going to interact with your other letters. Are they going to go behind? Okay. Are they going to overlap? Are they going to change a little bit to make them more exciting in some way? And then when you outline them and start coloring, so obviously you're going to erase all your pencil lines, you can then choose the part of it that you really like. Now, if you end up with this marker, you should throw it away because it might be doing all right. It might be ready to die, so you want to make sure that you don't keep markers that are not still going. You can see that that letter is a little bit more interesting because what I've done to it. This looks a little bit more interesting because it's overlapping. So what you want to do when you go to your design level is really start trying to figure out how can you make these more interesting. Okay? Alright, so we got that there, and you can see I can change the style of that too. The other ones are pretty self-explanatory. You do the same thing, but one thing I did want to look at is what happens with really tiny letters. It's very difficult to trace around that, and especially since you're going to be filling it with a marker. So what I do is I trace the letter itself, and then I decide to just make it a shape by how I trace it. So when you color it in, you change it just a little bit, make it a little bit thicker to make it a two-dimensional letter. Maybe you add a little bit of a line to it, but remember, everything's pretty skinny when you do it at that level. Anything smaller than that, for instance, if I think that I'm clumsy, but it's a really small part of me, once it gets to be this small, it's very difficult to make the letters interesting. I don't even know how to spell clumsy, actually. Oh, that's interesting. We'll spell it wrong. Because maybe we're going to spell it how it feels and not how it actually is written. And that's probably okay, but notice that that doesn't have a whole lot of style. Maybe the letters are getting a little bit bigger, maybe they fall off of something, maybe you can add some lines to it that make it feel like it's in motion. That's why we really want the letters to be a little bit bigger, if that makes sense. Now you notice I did these all in the same color. Obviously yours are going to be all in different colors, and your colors should really relate to what you're doing. For instance, if this is a basketball, I'm probably going to want to do these letters in a color that makes sense for what I'm doing. Actually, that should be around like that, probably. All right, and then maybe if it's a basketball, I should have my. Now, some of these, this is a good chance to say this. Sometimes you're trying to draw something, you try to draw it on each individual. So if I want to draw the line that goes across basketball in the middle, I'm going to draw across all of them. Okay, if I'm going to draw this part of the basketball, I'm going to draw it across all of them. Try to do it over across all the letters, and then if there's any parts where you go outside the letter and you don't need them, you can erase just that part, okay? So that it doesn't, it's really difficult to draw it all together if you do it letter by letter, but if you do it across all the letters and you do the whole line, it's a little bit easier. And then for this, you can do it now that you have it in there, you can do it one by one and skip the part that you don't need, right? All right, so good luck.